morning. Okay, so like I was working on something on my other computer and I had looked at this one, checked the time. I still had 6 minutes. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish doing my email over here, a couple of things on my other computer. And all of a sudden I looked up and it was like 9 o'clock and 22 seconds. And I was like, oh no. So I'm so sorry. I pushed the button 22, maybe even 24 seconds late. So good morning to all of you, my friends. I'm so sorry. Like now I feel like the dogs are all huddled around me. I usually, please just stay there and sleep. I usually try to get them out of the office and shut the door for coffee time just to make sure they don't move around and hit a cord or a plug or something. But because I was over here, I didn't have time to do that. So you get Miss Amy and you get Maggie. I think Daisy's behind. Yeah, Daisy's behind me, and then Penny's over there. So you're getting all of us today. And of course, as always, you have Eric. He's always here with us. He's right here with me. So always, he joins in on coffee time. So good morning, everybody. I hope you had a good week. I will tell you, yesterday I was oblivious to the time change, and I wondered why I woke up at 10:30. Now, first of all, not only does my alarm, but my internal alarm almost always, and the dogs, let's be honest, almost always wake me up around 7, just every day. Sometimes I'm up earlier. Like sometimes I roll awake at 6:30 and so I just lay there and doze, or sometimes I'm just like up and at 'em. But at any rate, yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, I guess it was yesterday. Woke up and at 7, took the dogs out like I normally do. And I was like, I'm just so super tired today. Like, I don't know that I can actually get up yet. But I tried. I made coffee. Went back to bed to usually it's what I'll do. I'll make my coffee and I'll go sit back in bed and kind of prepare for the day, kind of go over, let my brain wake up slowly, right? Look and see what appointments I have, make sure I have everything kind of mapped out. And I don't know, I just dozed back off. And then I woke up at 10:30 and I was like, what is happening? And then realized, oh yeah, it was the clocks, which I still have to change on my oven. Isn't that the most frustrating thing? It's like half of your clocks say one thing, your phones automatically change, your computers change. But then ovens and things like that, you have to manually set them. But anyway, good morning. Let's see what you guys are doing. Who did I miss this morning? By the way, I'm sure I missed some of you, so my apologies. I love you. Let's see who we got. Yeah, Jim says, sorry, he missed last week. I told Jim that we were talking about him. I always talk about him and Cheryl, and they really are. Just the hair. I don't get it. I'm just going to shave it. Anyway, yeah, I told Jim a minute ago, in our little text thing, I said I talked about you last week, and that was just always my example of just the joy that living in and around Disney can bring. If you have those annual passes or seasons passes, you can just, kind of go on a whim, go have breakfast, go just take a walk, go ride one ride, go see one show, go wherever you want. It's such an inspiration, and it really does make me so happy. I know so many of my clients are living that same dream. It's so obvious with Jim. I just love it. So anyway, good morning, Kim. I don't think I said hello to you, but let me type it in. Hi, Kim. There you go. I typed it to you, Kim. All right. Anyway, so good morning to everybody. Daryl, you popped in. Oh my gosh, everybody's popping in. Daryl is always here. By the way, if anyone needs Daryl to speak or facilitate, he's just the most amazing person, first of all. So if you just need an amazing person to inspire you, call Daryl. He is amazing. He does so many workshops for so many different types of organizations, always so inspiring and real, and just, I love it. So if you are a leader and you need, just call Daryl. Whatever you need, call Daryl. Okay, Daryl, you're welcome. All right, anyway, good morning, Daryl. And Jen, if you happen to be around, although she is probably running around like crazy getting ready for classes today. Good morning, Allie. And Allie says, good morning, Virginia folks. Absolutely. Good morning to all of you fellow Virginians. Susie Q, good morning to you, my sweet friend. Oh my gosh, I love it. Susan, good morning from Richmond, or good morning, Richmond. Yes, ma'am. Let's see who else popped in. Oh, look, Jim. Jim says we went to Magic Kingdom that day. You know what? As you should. That just makes my heart so happy. You know what else we were talking about with Jim? What else was it, guys? Was it the garage? We were talking about spring cleaning. and kind of the regeneration, the rebirth, the renewing, the resetting of not just physical things in your house, but kind of resetting your life and resetting just so many different things. Spring is if you need a reason, if you need a season, then spring is usually it for most people. But we were talking about garages, I think, is how the whole gym conversation came out. We talked about, unless your gym and your garage is immaculate, most of us have messy garages. But anyway, so let's see. So I'm just so happy you guys are here. It was a crazy week, as you will see by wishes. And I'm going to get to that a little bit sooner because there's a lot of stories with each of those that will be relevant throughout today's coffee time. And it was a busy week for me. And I am grateful to you for keeping me busy. I was talking to one of my clients yesterday, because remember, there's no day off. There's no way you can say, hey, I'm checking out. I mean, I guess there is a way. There's a lot of realtors that do that. Candidly, I don't see how I can yet. Maybe one day, but today is not that day. But anyway, so I talked to a client. He's like, I'm so sorry to bother you on a Sunday. And I'm like, hey, it's Sunday, whatever. We're all working on Sunday. It's fine. And we were talking about that very thing, not being able to reset and, having, he has a business and he's trying to move and he's like trying to keep the business and he's, has a team in place of people not a team, but like employees kind of in place to kind of keep things going and delegating more to other people. And we were just discussing how I think he and I are very similar in the sense that we care so much about our clients that it's really hard to relinquish full control. And, back to Eric's thing, right? He would make a joke saying I'm selfish and I'm like, no, I'm protective. But the thing is, there's things that can be delegated. And so I'm learning and I'm doing, but in our conversation yesterday, where I was going with that, already off track, is my time. And I really felt it this past week. I really, truly felt it that my time, despite like the fact that I would love to have gotten up out of my office and away from my computer and stop being at my desk, my time was so well spent here because the entire week it was constant. I mean, there were days where I was here like all day long sitting in front of this, the computers and negotiating contracts and counter offering contracts for both buyers and for sellers, getting the documentation done, getting the paperwork done, getting those inspections scheduled, going over inspection reports, making sure that addendums were done on time, getting in touch with my contacts with new construction because I had a client that just decided to go in town and we're like getting that set up. So that is where I am at my best, right? That's where I think people need me as their agent because I can go out and about and lollygag and just enjoy and send pictures of me like in front of something. But the reality is this is why you need me, is to sit here at my desk and do my job and use my contacts and use my expertise and use those experiences to assist you through the process. So I don't even know where I was going with all that. But anyway, it was just, it's hard. It's hard to do it all. So if I have somebody, if you're one of my clients and if I have somebody else that kind of helps to step in and maybe show a home or two, just understand that's because I'm probably negotiating something over here that is super important, and you'll want me to do the same for you. So anyway, good morning. All right, who else popped in? Oh my goodness. We have Mark popped in. Good morning, Mark. New Jersey Jan popped in. Good morning. I'm guessing it's New Jersey Jan. I'm not sure if it's not, but hi, Jan. All right, guys. So we have a lot to talk about. So let's go to our topics today. We have 3 different ones, so we're not doing a full all-encompassing subject today. We'll just scatter those in, but let's go ahead and go to our topics. Okay, good morning. All right, so spring forward, 2026, what's in a name? And all the house is a stage. Okay, so here are our topics today. Again, all stemming from something relevant. And the first one is obviously spring forward. I mentioned a second ago how I woke up yesterday and I just didn't know. It just slipped past me. And when you were a kid, when I was a kid, it was very important because we didn't have internet, right? Nothing was synced to something that's invisible that we can't see that changes the time on all your clocks, right? So as a kid, you knew when that day was coming up, because if you had school the next day, you better not miss it, because they're not going to take the excuse that you didn't know. For work, same thing, right? So as a kid, you knew when those time changes were coming, and you went around and before you went to bed or whatever, you changed the clocks all around the house, and you were aware. You changed your watch, and now everything is just so done for us and automated that we get, I don't want to say lazy. I don't think lazy is the right word, but we get, I guess, just indifferent, or it's just not as prevalent in our mind, right? Because we're focused on what we have to do the next day, not what time we have to do it. We're gonna let other things that we can't see or feel or touch change our clocks for us, except the stoves and the ovens and the microwave and the thing that needs to be done manually. What dog just touched that? My light just went. I think one of the dogs just got up. So anyway, but yeah, so the time change. Now here's the nice thing. The time change is wonderful because we have that extra daylight. We have that time at the end of the day that you just can enjoy more. So on that note, let's talk about some ways that we can, it's stemming from last week where I gave myself my self-help by by having coffee time to voice what you needed to tell me. That was convoluted, wasn't it? But I tell you, like the eye-opening experience halfway through coffee time where I was like, oh, wait, I'm doing this for you, for me. So, but anyways, let's go to our the first topic, which is spring forward. So here's some things that you can do when we talked about spring cleaning and just energizing your life, giving yourself a little bit of spark, or ways to be a little bit, I don't want to say productive, okay? Because I'm done with all of that. I am productive enough. I am productive out the wazoo. I got way too much going on. And this is my Instacart story. I'll come up and remind you of that one. But I'm not telling you the extra hour so that you can be more productive. Let's take that extra hour for spring forward and let's make more value in your life, more magical micro moments of magic, as we talked about the other day. So spring forward, a couple things that you can do. Try to do this. Amy, try to do this. Take 20 to 30 minutes, maybe after dinner, to go take a walk, right? Try to go do that. I know Allie and Hong have been walking with Easton. Sometimes after dinner, the weather, is great, so it's time to utilize some of that time. Sit outside with a cup of tea or wine or a beer or a soda or water, lemonade. I don't care. But go sit outside. Go sit on your front porch. Go sit on your back lanai or your back porch or your back deck. Whatever it is. If there's a bench down the street in your neighborhood that looks out to a pond or a playground, go take some time and go do that and kind of re-energize yourself. Put your phone down. Amy, put your phone down. I mean, you have to have it, but you can still put it down. Don't scroll on it. What's the point of sitting outside on your front porch if all you're doing is scrolling on your phone? Just go do that inside. So let's put our phone down, go sit on the front porch and have some moment of being, in the universe that you are in. Do some light stretching or yoga on your patio or porch. Okay, this one, I don't know if I could do it outside, but it's a good idea for you. But any stretching or yoga or workouts that I do where no one can see me. And you're welcome. All right, do some gardening. If you are a person who has a green thumb, or if you're like, I just want an herb garden, or I want to do a big vegetable garden, take that extra time that you have in the day to utilize it for something like that. Get your hands back in the earth, right? Remember where it is that everything is coming from. Call a friend while you're walking, by the way. I see that all the time. And at first I thought that was weird. I was like, why are you walking? And because they're like walking, but there's no phone, right? So they're like talking through their earpiece. And I'm like, what are you doing? And then I went, oh, you're doing two wonderful things right now. You're not only taking a walk, to get some exercise and some fresh air and some vitamin D, but you're calling someone and talking to a friend. Maybe that's a friend that you don't talk to all the time. So you're having a great time to reconnect. So maybe that's a 2-for-1, right? Instead of thinking that's weird that you're walking and you're talking out loud, maybe the thought process, Amy, is what a great thing. They're getting some exercise, they're getting outside, and maybe they're talking to a friend or to their mom or to their dad or a sister or a brother or whomever, and they're just talking and reconnecting. So utilize the time to do that, 2 things out of 1. Plus that way, if you trip and you fall down and you have, hurt your ankle, which would probably be me, you've got somebody on the other side, on the other end of the phone that can help. Anyway, use that time to engage in a hobby. For those of you who have, hobbies that kind of involve better weather, or maybe it's that you just don't have the time during the day to do it, or you just keep putting it off because, wintertime just feels different. I mean, I'll never forget teaching at my dance studio during, the fall back times with the time, opening up the door at my 4:30 class. My 3:30 class was over. It's 4:30. I opened it to let him go, and it's like pitch black dark outside. It's like, oh, it's just the worst. It feels so depressing, right? But so engage in a hobby. What is it that you like to do? Go outside, just do something, find something to do. Use that extra time. If we have an extra hour of daylight, use it for something that's going to make your heart happy and give you a little bit of joy. And then maybe you can sit. This is what I think is cool. Sit with some friends or family. And this stems from my mom's back screened in porch that she has. Anytime I'm there to visit, we almost always inevitably end up on that screen porch in the back, and we're all just sitting there in like our rocking chairs or little benches, and we're just sitting there and we're just talking. And what a great time to just kind of be with family. There's no TV, there's no phone, there's nothing to entertain. It's just human interaction with those that you hold most dear, your friends, your family. And so maybe you can organize a happy hour, that extra hour. Maybe you get some of your neighbors or friends that live close by, and you're like, hey, we're just going to do a happy hour. That 1 extra hour once a week or once a month, we're going to have a happy hour. We're going to go sit on the front porch. We're going to go sit out in the backyard on the deck or on the porch or by the pool, wherever it is. Just kind of find some time. That's my challenge to you. Amy, that's my challenge to you, is to try to find a way to use that extra time to add more joy to your life. Not necessarily to go, oh, I have 1 more hour of work that I can get done. I think we all need to stop that. At least at my age, I'm like, I need to not. And back to that Instacart story. I know I've told you this before, and it was really one of the most shocking things that I do a lot of Instacart for my groceries, mostly just because I don't have the time to shop. Even, with Eric, I didn't have the time to shop. So it was a lot of Instacart then. And now, candidly, one of the most depressing things is to go to the grocery store. I'm just going to tell you that. For anyone who is a widower, anybody, I guess who is single, but that's to me, that is the most depressing thing, is to go to a grocery store and just walk past food and go, I don't really want any of this. It's way too much food for me. I don't care to eat anyway. And, that's a struggle. And then dinner time is a struggle, but that is, anyway, so I do Instacart. And when I go on to my Instacart account, it'll always say, congratulations, you've saved, 87 hours, as though I should have been, I would have been at the store shopping for all of those items myself. That would have been time in my life. They're like, yay, you saved that time. And I'm like, yeah, but I just worked through that time. I did it as a convenience so I could be more productive at work, not so that I could be more productive at life. So anyway, so this is my challenge to all of us. We get a little extra daylight. Let's do it. So, boy, we've got some more of you guys popped in. Anna, good morning from Claremont. Highest elevation in Central Florida, my friend. Good morning. Melody says, I forgot too. I was in my car and the clock didn't match my phone and watch. Took a moment to remember. I know. And then I felt stupid. Then I felt really I'm like, Amy, you should have known. Like, there's just certain things you should know, but I can't get mad at myself. Allie says, it's so nice that there's still sunlight when home gets home from work, right? I mean, it still makes you feel like, especially as a young family like they are, that your day isn't over, especially if somebody works out of the house, to be able to come home and have it still be daylight. I don't know. I think mentally And psychologically, it does something to you to have more family time, to not feel like, well, the day's over because it's already dark outside, so let's get ready for bed, as opposed to going, okay, I'm home from work. What do we want to do? Right? Totally different. So anyway, that's a good point. Sydney, funny. What did we do before phones? I'm watching you on my TV and phone to type and scrolling through emails, Facebook, etc. Need to decompress. Sydney, me too. Will you take me on the next cruise you go on? We'll help each other. Okay. You just tell me. I keep thinking about a cruise. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can. Jane, it isn't it so much reliance on these screens? It really is. It absolutely is. Yeah, there's kind of crazy. All right. Anyway, so let's keep going. Let me see. Where was I? There we go. Okay. So everybody promise. Say, I solemnly swear to do something for me, meaning you, meaning me, meaning you, during these next, is it 8 months? Isn't it 8 months that we get this? I think it is, right? Well, whatever, you tell me. But however long we get this extra hour of daylight, let's all try to vow to make that about enhancing our life in whatever way that looks like for you, by the way, because I'm no judgment. Everyone do themselves, be themselves, do what makes you happy is my whole thing, right? You love one another. It does not matter who that other is. You love them. But do something that makes your heart happy. Okay, good. Deal. Let's shake on it. All right, good job. All right, let's go on to our second brewing topic, which is what's in a name? Legal names, trust, how will things be titled? So this is definitely, Elizabeth, very cute. Elizabeth's like, yes, okay. That's adorable. What was I going to say? Oh, so how are things titled and what's in a name? And this is important. This is a real estate section, real estate topic, because a lot of people have their homes or their properties titled differently. Some of them have them obviously in their legal names. Some of them have it titled with a relative because all of you are in on the title and the purchase of the home or the loan. And then some of you have them in trusts. And I think that it's important. And some of you, by the way, this is the thing. Some of you go by a name that is not your legal name. Okay. My name is Amy. It is not Amelia. It's Amy. So you call me Amy. Amy is my legal name. But if you were to go to someone, and their name is Bob, you might think their name is Bob, and you also might think it might be Robert, but it might be something completely different. You might have someone whose name is Katie or Kat or Kit, and you might think it's Catherine, but it could be Katerina. Like there's so many different things. So when you are, do your realtor a favor, right? When you are purchasing a home, make sure you always provide them your legal name. Like even at the introduction, right? My name is, I don't know. My name is Teresa. That's my legal name, but I go by, Tenny, because that's a nickname that I had growing up. So everyone calls me Tenny, but my name is Teresa. Not that anyone would think her name was Tenny, but I'm just saying, right? Make sure you do that, because what ends up happening, and it's not a problem, by the way, but like I have 2 contracts right now where we need to do an addendum specifically just to change the names. It's not a problem. It happens, but let's try to not have those little hiccups or those bumps. Sometimes, and by the way, you can do this after the contract is signed, right? So if we're like, oh, hey, we don't have the husband's actual legal name as it shows on his driver's license. And by the way, sorry, my chair is scooting backwards. Let me roll it forward. Hold on. There we go. I'm sorry, girls. I'm sorry. Everything's okay. So yeah, all you have to do with that is you do an addendum after the contract is signed. It's not a problem, but it can be a little hiccup for title and what's going on behind the scenes. There's the dogs. Behind the scenes of what's going on. You may or may not know. Sorry, I knew that was going to happen. Maggie. Oh, I know what it is. Somebody's walking the dog. Anyway, but so that's what it would call for, is an addendum to just, that buyers and sellers were changing the names to this for the buyers. But let's just not make it happen in the first place if we can avoid it. Just make sure that everybody knows, because you may not know that. You may not think about that. And part of when your agent Or if it's new construction, part of the builder's responsibility, if they're the ones that are writing the purchase agreement, the contract, or if it's your agent, is on that first line where it talks about, first couple lines where it talks about who is the seller, who is the buyer. Make sure your realtor is correct, right? Because I don't have a copy of your driver's license. The builder usually will actually ask for a copy of your driver's license, but just make sure we all help each other. But make sure in advance. If you're going into a purchase and you're like, hey, it's, Molly and myself are buying it, but we're actually going to be purchasing in the name of a trust. So we need to do that. Or if it's a business that's purchasing it, there's a lot of technicalities there. So just make sure that everybody knows how you want the property titled, because we also want to make sure that matches the actual contracts and other documents, because it's all a legal cumulative thing that we all want it to be the same. It all needs to be the same. It has to be the same. All right, let's go. Let's see what's happening. Daryl, so you're saying I have to tell my kids my name is not bruh. Oh, jeez. I know, right? Dawson uses that all the time too. Jay says, Jay is my nickname. I always forget to actually use Jason for real things. Wow, I didn't know that. I would have assumed your name was Jay. I've known Jays before, and Jay was their name, or James. But yeah, see, Jason wouldn't have known. That's too funny. You guys are hysterical. All right. So anyway, so there you go. Make sure that everyone knows how things need to be titled, and make sure that we try to get that done in the beginning of the process so that we don't have any last minute hiccups. It's usually easy to resolve, by the way. Also, if you do decide to put your name, put your home in a trust, you can do that after closing. It can be done. There's legal paperwork that you can do. It can be done relatively easily. But again, if you know that in advance going into it, let's just go ahead and do it in the beginning, right? Okay, so let's move on to our third topic. Actually, you know what? I'm going to mix something in. What is my third topic? I don't even know what it is. Yeah, I'm going to do third topic. Allie and I talked about last week. We're talking about, I know I talk a lot, and I know I'm probably pretty boring without Eric to kind of pop in and make a joke or make light or have somebody else's face pop up here on coffee time. And so we were talking a little bit about that last week. And we were like, well, maybe instead of doing topics 1, 2, 3, maybe I should insert one of our little interstitial thingies in there. But you know what? I'll do that next week, because it messes with my brain if I don't go in order. I'm afraid I'll forget and not come back. So I'm going to go ahead and do the third brewing topic, if that's okay with you. And this is all the house is a stage. Okay. Look at this. So first of all, one of the topic is more about staging. I would like for you to look at the two photos, real photos from this past weekend's showing. Real photos. Do you see anything interesting with the staged home that we viewed? Do you see? I mean, no judgment, but it's two tables. It's two foldable tables with a blanket. And I mean, no offense, but the dust ruffle looks like somebody's underwear has fallen down. And it just looks funny. And I mean, it didn't affect whether or not my clients liked the house, but we had a good laugh. But just, wow, right? That's kind of interesting. Tell me your thoughts. I don't know if I would have done that. Like, I don't know if that made it any better to visualize the room, because, by the way, here are some do's and don'ts if you decide to stage. Now, by the way, if you live in your home and you have furniture in it, then your staging is going to be different, because your home exists, right? Unless you are going to thin out your home. And by the way, I do have a listing guide that kind of tells you, what to do, how to best make your home, as I call, show ready. Then, you're going to be utilizing your own furniture. So it's really nothing that you need to stage. It's just, you need to just kind of set a scene a little bit better. But if you have a vacant property, if you've already moved out, do you need to stage it? And I would say, no, not always. Not everybody needs to see furniture in the space to visualize it, to see if it'll work for their family. In fact, there are some people who would prefer to see the blank palette, the blank canvas, and then visualize it for themselves. However, I have used stagers before for several properties that were vacant, and it does help, because when it is professionally done, maybe not with some folding tables and a dust ruffle that looks like underwear falling down and a blanket. When it is done professionally, it can show you how to best utilize space that might at first glance look weird. So I do think, and I also had a house that was very dark. It was just a very, very dark house, and it needed the extra light in the showings and the way the furniture went to really get someone on board with how beautiful the home actually is. It just needed more light. All right, so let's talk about a few of the staging tips. So here's a couple of do's. Do use furniture to define the spaces. And by the way, this does not have to be the entire house. So the staging company that I typically use, we're really just staging the livable space, like the main common living areas. We're not staging every bedroom. It's really about that family room space, the kitchen space, maybe the primary bedroom but really it's just about you walk into the home and what do you see? And that's kind of, you don't need to stage every single room, every single wall. It's not required. But you do want to have some furniture to help define the spaces, especially in some of the newer floor plans where everything is so open, right? It's just this big, massive open space. And you're like, but I don't know how or where to put the furniture to make this feel like it's a usable home to me. That's where staging comes in. So use the furniture to define the spaces. It helps add warmth. It helps, just to make it feel like it's a home, not just like this cold set of walls. So it can add warmth. And that's usually going to be done with rugs. If you see the staged homes, it's usually not just furniture sitting there. They'll usually stage that entire room with a rug to help anchor it and warm it, with the sofa with pillows, maybe a blanket over here, things to kind of add warmth, literally and figuratively, as far as making the home feel like you could just nestle right on down in that sofa and read a book or turn on the TV or have a meal, talk with a friend, whatever it is. Maximize the lighting. And that one, legit, that is why I needed a stager for one of my listings years ago. They brought in extra lamps, right? They brought in floor lamps and lamps on end tables. And it really, really, really did make a difference. So add some light or maximize that lighting. Highlight the focal points. If there is something really spectacular about that house, maybe it has a great view. If it has a great view out the back, maybe the furniture is situated to help maximize that view. Or if there's a focal point in the house, like a really fantastic lighting fixture, maybe in a dining room, then accentuate that. Make sure that that doesn't stand there alone like a sore thumb. Make sure that you've got staging that room around it so that it accentuates that. Again, what we're trying to do when you stage a home is to help a buyer understand what it would feel like to live there and how they can utilize that space. And the last thing is to use the art and the decor strategically. A lot of times you'll see mirrors. First of all, mirrors are great in houses in general, but mirrors are a great way to kind of help just add some decor, add some elements, bounce that light around throughout the house. It's a great, just normal, natural, neutral thing. They don't have to be taste or decor or style specific. Mirrors are wonderful. And the same thing with just regular artwork. You will see when professional stagers stage a home and they do use wall art. I mean, they're not going around and putting 50 nails in a wall. They're doing everything strategically. It has a purpose. And that really will help. And by the way, if you are interested in stagers, like the company that I use in Florida, I think like for a basic package, just if you're thinking about how much does it cost, first of all, I'm not promising pricing or anything, right? But because you may live in a different area, you may have a bigger house, you may have a smaller house, it's all variable. But let me just explain. So where I am, for the homes that I have used a stager, it was like $1,500. And I believe that was for 3 months worth of the home being staged. They come in, they look at the space, they know what they've got, they go away, they bring their stagers back, they set everything up, everything looks fantastic. You got 3 months for $1,500-ish. And that usually is to define those main living spaces. Obviously, they've got other packages where you could, really fully stage an entire mansion if you wanted. But usually you just want those main living spaces to be defined. Once someone can walk in and feel like this is a home, is it my home? It's a home. Is it my home? Then you're good to go. All right. So keeping on now, here's some don'ts. Okay. Don't leave rooms empty. Now, I just said you don't have to fill everything. What I mean is you don't want to have a family room done, but then you have like the room that's right beside it is now empty, because now what you've done is you've accentuated the void, right? You're like, oh, this room looks great. Well, what's wrong with that? So make sure everything is cohesive, okay? But if the home is vacant, you don't need to have something in every single bedroom. People will understand, oh, this is a bedroom. Oh, that's the family room. But again, if it's upstairs bonus room, usually you don't need to do those. But generally speaking, you want to make sure that the living spaces, the common areas are staged. Don't overfill the space. Don't put too much in there, right? That's kind of that's think model home, right? You know, those model homes are gorgeous, but nobody lives in them. So there's not a basket of shoes at the front door. Nobody lives in that house. So there's not going to be cabinets that are overflowing. In fact, they probably got glass in their cabinets because, they've got decor in there as opposed to real life mixed matched plastic cups. But make sure that you don't overfill the space. Make sure that your corners are clean and that you have easy pathways and walkways around your furniture. This is a tip. Don't use bold or personal decor or photos. So if you are now staging, have to get into the camera, staging your house, the same rule of thumb. Don't use things that are personal. Don't use your family photos. Don't use religious things. Only, by the way, it doesn't bother me, but it does bother some people. So let's just remove them. Just make sure that your home looks like it's warm and welcoming to everyone. And they don't want to think about who currently owns the home or who currently lives in the home. That's what they don't want to think about. They want to think about the home as their home. Don't ignore the scale. Like, make sure that you're not putting a teeny tiny little table in a big, massive room. So this is where the professionals will come in, right? Is they've got warehouses of furniture that they can make sure that the room itself or the furniture fits the room itself. And again, if you're trying to stage your own home with what you already own, a little bit of a different story. But if you've got some give, these are some tips. And then don't forget the outdoor space. Oh my goodness. Do not forget the outdoor space. It doesn't matter where you live. At some point in the year, you've got nice weather, right? So maximize that. But if you are in Florida or in Virginia, you can always incorporate your outdoor space, whether it is your front porch, whether it is your front courtyard, whether it is your pool area, your outdoor oasis, whether it's your back deck or a back screened in porch. Don't forget that. And why? Because that is where people want to feel like they can gather. Those are the places where people feel like this is where I'm going to relax at the end of the day. This is where I'm going to sit and chat with family or friends, or I'm going to cuddle up and read a book. Those are those spaces that you don't want to forget. Those are important. If you're charging more for your house because you've got this great outdoor oasis and you love it, then you better stage it if it's vacant. If you've got this wonderful screened-in porch in the back, make sure there's some furniture out there with some pillows and a blanket and a plant, something that makes it look homey and welcoming, because that's how the buyer is going to use it. And that's the whole point of this, is that when the buyer comes in, they want to feel like they feel comfortable there, that they can see themselves and their family living there and laughing there and making memories there and loving there and mourning there and enjoy all of that space, and that it fits them. So that's important. But so staging is not required. And by the way, if you do sell a home and it is vacant, I've had many homes that have been sold vacant and did not need any furnishing in there. It did not need any staging in there. If it sits for a while, if the feedback is kind of indicating that maybe we need to make a little change or something, then that's where we can talk about the staging part of it. But for the moment, for most people, if you take a look at the listing guide or ask your agent if it's not me, what they suggest, usually we're pretty good at knowing when we walk through houses what you do and what you don't do. I would discourage you, however, from doing two folding tables and a dust ruffle around it. That's probably not. I mean, I will say, so builders, if you go to some of the model homes, it is a real bed frame, my friends, but it is usually just an inflatable mattress on there. Okay. So sometimes it's not real beds. It's okay. You can make it look like something else, but that was just a little obvious. But anyway, I got a chuckle out of it. We all laughed a little bit. All right, let's see what you got to say. Let's move on. Oh, wait a minute. I see Elsie. What's happening? Oh, Elsie says good morning to you all. Good morning, Elsie. Okay, let's see. Sydney, I love staging. Non-staged is disappointing to me. Really? Okay. So you would prefer, and this is, by the way, this is why I love you guys, because this is great info. So you actually really would, like if you were to tour a vacant home, Sydney, you would rather have furniture in it so you could get a feel for it. Yeah. And it's disappointing if it's not. I love that. That's interesting. Melody, that staging is terrible. As a buyer, I'd rather see an empty room. No, and that's my point, Melody. Exactly. If you're going to do it right, or don't do it at all. Because I think in the long run, it could be a detriment if you're trying to stage. And by the way, I understand not everybody has the budget to stage, and you don't always need to stage. But if you do, it would be better to focus on a room. Like in that particular house, FYI, in that particular house, you walked in and you went, wow, the room was giant. They had just redone the floors. It had been renovated. It was an older home and it had been renovated, but it was a really, really big, like entry family room. You walked right into the family room space of it. That to me would have been a better room to stage. And forget the bedrooms. The bedroom was large. It was obvious the bedroom was large. We didn't need two folding tables there to tell us that it was a really large room. Like you didn't really need anything in the family room because it really did. It was like, okay, there's a lot of space here. But if you were going to do it, it would have been better to do it right and do it in one room that would make the most impact, right? We talked about that last week. If you're going to do your spring cleaning, focus on something that's going to give you the most impact. But yeah, so interesting, huh? Pam, I'd rather see nothing in there than that. Jane, absolutely. Pam and Sydney, I agree. Either do it well or just leave it empty. There we go. This is why we all get along together. Gary, I would have preferred no table, but if they're going to have a table, put a vase or something on it to give it some character. I love it. Yeah. If you're going to do a folding table, put a tablecloth on it and put it in the dining room and set the table. Make it look a little better. That's too funny. Sydney confirms, yes, done well or empty, but the builders, whoever does, they do a fabulous job. They do. And there are definitely some tricks. Now, here's a trick. I need to tell you this. If you are going through a model home, okay, and this is like true story. If you are touring a decorated, fully furnished, off the chart, beautiful model home, when you go in the bedrooms, do a super quick visual of the actual beds that they have in there. Because I swear they have, like in some of the children's bedrooms, they have beds in there that aren't real sizes. Like it's like not a single bed. It's shorter than a single bed. And sometimes they're just not like, you might go into the primary bedroom and it's like, well, it's just a full-size bed in there. It's not a queen. You might think it's a queen because it's the primary bedroom, or you might even think it's a king, but it's not. So look, because sometimes they try to trick you and they have a smaller or a more awkward shaped bed in there to give you the visual of, oh, here's a bed. But that's not the bed you would be putting in there. So make sure that you do check that. I've literally gone, what size is this? I couldn't buy a mattress for this. And then you look underneath of it and it's not a mattress. Anyway. All right, let's keep going. Kim, my lanai is the favorite part of my house. Exactly. And so you want that area to reflect that. And I know, like I see your pictures with enjoying all the wildlife back there. That's exactly it. We loved ours too. I do wish that we had been able to have more time out in our pool area, but that's okay. It was pretty when we had it. So Yvette Mendez, I prefer staging when it's done right. Me too. I think that if I had my druthers, as my grandmother would say, I also would prefer some staging in lieu of just a big void, but I don't need it. Do you know what I mean? Like it'd be fun to see it, but if I knew that it was going to cost somebody a lot of money to stage it, I don't think I'd be able to visualize it differently. But if I'm touring, heck yeah, I want it staged. I want to be able to see kind of what's going on. I like to see other people's ideas and get some ideas myself and spark that inspiration and creativity for me. All right, so there we go. There are our topics today. All right, now let's go to what do I want to go. I want to go to wishes because I have a lot of them. Okay, I told you it was a busy week, my friends. So there's two sets of names on there. If you recall last week, Jeff and Karen, and then in parentheses, what do we have? Like fingers crossed or something like? We got them under contract. So congratulations to Jeff and Karen. And congratulations to Mike and June for getting their home under contract. Nikki and Dan, we got them under contract too. Lots going on. Thank you, Daryl, for the referral for them. They have a great home that they're going to be really comfortable in. It's going to check off the boxes for them. And we, by the way, did a lot of exploring and a lot of options, including new construction. And by the way, this is an example that even though there were some good new construction options when it came to the house, it may not have checked off some of the most critical boxes for them. And therefore the resale did. So know that going in, just because there's a lot of new construction, sometimes it's not always the winner. And also David and Joy, super excited for them. Thank you, Susan, for that one. David and Joy are now under contract with a beautiful home out in Virginia. Loving that one. Also completely renovated top to bottom. So exciting to see that. Bob and Joanne, oh my goodness. So excited for them. We were able to get them under contract. They're buying a villa in a 55 plus community. Super, super excited for them. I know they've been trying for a while now. And I think those are the most rewarding, the most rewarding ones is when you know somebody wants something and they really do want a specific area, but they're doing their due diligence. They're not just jumping immediately, right? And they're exploring and they're considering, and then they keep coming back to the same community and then ultimately able to make it happen. So congratulations to Bob and Joanne. Super excited for them. And then also to Curtis and Luann, we got their townhome listing under contract. So there's been a lot going on. What dog is making that noise? Penny, it's okay. Pen. Do your dogs sleep and then can you hear her? You hear her? She's dreaming, I think. Penny, it's okay. I'm pushing her under my desk. Okay. Anyway, so congratulations, Jeff and Karen contracted on an absolutely exquisite lakefront luxury home. Mike and June, congratulations. You owned that lakefront luxury home. Nikki and Dan, again, David and Joy, Bob and Joanne, Curtis and Luann. I don't think I missed anybody, but if I did, I'll get you next week. Super excited for all of them. All right. So on that note, what's going to go next is word because ties in.
Oh, now come on, Amy, tell me what's the word.
Okay. Did Elsie like it? Did Elsie like hearing Poppy sing on that one, Elizabeth? Okay. Pocket listing. Okay. So a pocket listing is not what I had because what I had, and I'll explain that situation in a minute because I'm just so grateful. But a pocket listing is something, and you may hear this term. So a pocket listing is something that does have to be, pardon me, it is an actual listing. Your listing is actually in the MLS. You have to have that listing agreement, but you're not marketing it, right? Did I say that right? I think I may have said that wrong. So your pocket listing, you have the pocket listing. It is not publicly advertised. And people want to do this sometimes for privacy reasons. That is not what I had. What I had, true story, and I'm only going to go the short version. But I had a potential client had reached out to me to list one of their homes. They have several homes, a primary residence, and then they also had a few investment properties in the area in and around Disney. And they called specifically talking about listing one of those investment properties, making plans, as we talked about last week, kind of making plans, getting rid of, homes and getting the estate and things ready so that they can move, so that they can enter a different phase of life in a different location. So that was what our conversation was based on, was a specific property. But when we were talking, I knew where he lived. Like he told me, the community he lived in. I'm like, I know that community very well. And then I was like, I know that house. Oh my gosh. And that was another house that we were going to sell probably a little bit further down the road because he wanted to get the other investment properties done first, and then and potentially get to the primary residence later toward the end of it. But it was a big, gorgeous, high-end luxury lakefront home with a boat dock that holds a boat and 2 jet skis and the lift, like the whole thing. A theater room that is Dolby certified. Like it is exquisite, right? So as I'm talking to him, we talked about the potential listing of the other house. And then I said, can I turn this conversation to the house you're in now? And we chatted about that for a little bit because I knew I had some clients that had been are looking, ready to move forward on something as soon as they find it. And I had discussed this exact community with them before, and there weren't any opportunities available. So ultimately, in my conversation with this gentleman, I said, would you be willing, if my client was interested, for us to maybe see this home and see if they would be interested? Because it could be the perfect scenario where you don't have to put it on the market with showings, people traipsing in and out of your house, which is always an inconvenience, but for them, even more so. We might be able to get you a buyer and get this sold without all of the, with all of the stress and inconvenience, if you would be open to having my client come see the home. And they said, sure, absolutely. So we went, we saw the home, client loved it. And between my seller person and my buyer person, we were able to get them under contract, and it satisfied both of their needs in such a great way. The sellers were able to sell their more difficult home to sell because it was at a multi-million-dollar price point. So it's quite a big price point. More difficult to sell, right? So more difficult to sell, even though it was gorgeous. Not that many buyers out there that can do that. If they do that, are they going to come in, at asking? What other contingencies are going to be in play? He wasn't really ready to sell it and move out of it yet. But my client was like, well, I just want to secure the house. I don't need you to move out of it right this very second. We can work on a post-occupancy agreement. Ultimately, the long and short of it is that I am so, so, so happy that with my seller, I was able to bring a buyer and get that deal done without ever having the inconvenience of and the chaos of having it be on the market and the people in and out and how long would it take to sell? Are you going to have to drop the price? What's that going to look like? And I will tell you that makes me really happy. And I thank you for that, because the truth of the matter is I have a lot of clients that are buyers. And when I have a lot of listings that are coming up, sometimes that matches. Sometimes it doesn't. I've had clients look at my listings before and they're like, no, I like it, but it's not the house we want. Okay, doesn't hurt my feelings. And then I have had clients buy my listing. And we can talk about that one day as to how that works and how some people are wary of that. And I think maybe you should be in some ways for some realtors. I think anyone that knows me probably wouldn't have that same concern, because what do I not divulge to you, right? I share everything. But at any rate, I was just really excited for them. So that was really exciting. And I'm super happy for them. So yay for them. All right, let's move on. Elizabeth said she did it. She danced to it again. Yay, Elsie danced. Yay, that makes me so happy. Melody, my shoulders did do a little dance too, Elsie. You guys are fun. I love you. Okay, all right, let's move on to Secret. Okay, so little secret there in the Winter Garden, Claremont area. Pulte is getting ready to open. They've just started pre-sales for Lake Haven Estates, which will be 26 different home plans, including some multi-gen options. Multi-gen meaning multi-generational, giving you the opportunity, if you have parents or children that need to live with you, it gives you some opportunities for that. Unbelievable resort amenities with food and beverage. So very rarely do you see amenities. And by the way, this is just what has been slated and advertised. I'm not in control of it. So if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But there are, only 55 plus communities have I seen where they may have an on-site restaurant or snack bar or grab and go or bar or something like that, because you have to have an ABC license if you're going to serve alcohol, right? And by the way, it's only 7 minutes from Hamlin. I don't know. We have to sing it. It's on the next page, I think, but I'm afraid to push buttons. But yeah, it's right there. So even though it is technically on the Lake County side, it's there near Wellness Way in Claremont. It is still based on these roads that connect. It's still only 7 minutes from Hamlin. And if it's close to Hamlin, then it's also close to Disney. So that's a new community that's popping up. So now, by the way, as we talk about that, if you are looking, if you are interested, please, the number of people that call me and they're like, hey, I was out and I put your name down as my realtor. That is fantastic. Boy, do I love you. Do I love that? That's fantastic. But the one thing you can possibly do potentially before that is let me know you're going to go out so I can tell you who to ask for. Because sometimes people just go and they don't know and they're like, oh, I'm going to make sure I put Amy down as my realtor. I'm definitely going to do that. But which is great. Again, I work with all of them. But sometimes they're like, oh my gosh, I would have loved for them to be able to work with Victor, or I would love for them to have been able to work with Larissa or whomever it is. So just if you think about it, give me a call before you head out and I'll tell you who to ask for when you go. And then that way I know that you're very well taken care of by somebody who's going to take care of you like I'll take care of you. So anyway, all right, let's move on because I want to go to the listings because I didn't do this last week. Okay, listing spotlight. There's a new listing that just went active this week or this past week. I guess it went active maybe on Thursday, perhaps. I can't remember. And this is in Waterley. So for those of you that know Waterley, they're in Horizon West, just minutes from Disney. This home is beautiful. It's the Cresswell floor plan. It is 5 bedrooms, 4 baths, a little over 2,800 square feet. This one, my friends, has a pool and it is on a pond, not only a pond, but the pond with the fountain that lights up. So it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful home site. I remember when my clients picked it out. These are multiple repeat clients of mine. Funny enough, originally from Virginia, which is how we connected in the first place. But this is the home that they built with D.R. Horton at Waterley. Can't remember how many years ago. And it is absolutely beautiful. It's a quiet street of the community. It's a quiet street. You can see the pool cage there, the screened enclosure, and you can see beautiful decking space. You also have extra yard back behind it. If you look at the middle picture on the bottom, you can see the neighbor has a fence. So if the property line goes to there, do you see how much extra space they have? Guys, that's not normal in new construction. A normal new construction home site, generally speaking, is 50 feet wide by 120 feet deep. That is deeper than that. That is a really nice home site. So you've got room if you want to fence it in. You've got extra space there if you've got pets or kids that want to run around. That's a really, really, really good one. So this is a nice one. Again, Cresswell. It does have a bedroom on the first floor as well as a full bathroom on the first floor. It's not an ensuite, but it is a room that if you needed to use it as an office, you could do that. But more importantly, if you needed a bedroom on the first floor, that could be. Sorry, my computer did something over here. That could be an option for you. The primary and the other bedrooms are upstairs. One of the other bedrooms upstairs is an ensuite. So if you have that special kid that you like better, they can have that one. And there's also a loft there as well. So great option in Waterley if you were interested. And I also have more. We have another one in Winter Garden with a pool. This one is another beautiful home. We have Winter Garden Gated Community. This is another beautiful home by MI Homes. This is the Newport floor plan, one of my favorites. And we did a price reduction on that one. The Windermere Townhome. Congratulations again to Curtis and to Luann. That is now under contract and should be closing this month. Love that. Took a while, but we got them there. Winter Garden Bungalow. This is a Toll Brothers property there in, excuse me, West Haven at Ovation. We did a pretty significant price reduction there as well. There's a lot of competition around, so sometimes you have to play the game, right? The Florida listings, again, sorry about the first picture. It's a little different picture. That is the big, beautiful lakefront luxury home. That one is now under contract. It went active and pending right away. We have another beautiful Winter Garden Gated Community at Lakeview Preserve. This is a Taylor Morrison floor plan. Absolutely beautiful. Another Winter Garden in Horizon West. And then, of course, we have the villa In Del Webb Oasis, which is a 55 plus community, we did a huge price reduction on that one as well. I'm wondering if, let me see if the other one, well, that's Spring Peeps. That wasn't where I was going. That was the frogs. Remember the frogs? Yeah, I think there might even be one more that I need to add to this. It has been crazy, guys. There has been a lot going on, and we're super excited about that. Okay, real quick, somebody asked me last week before we finished, somebody had asked me about Haines City and the Davenport area. And so I wanted to make sure I took a little bit of time. I don't know who was that. I don't remember who it was. Oh. Well, anyway, if you're here you go. So Haines City and Davenport. So proximity to Disney is great. You're depending on the road that you're going. If you have to get on I-4, it could be a little bit, because that little section is always kind of a little traffic heavy, because it is in a good spot. Now, it's less expensive than being in Orlando or in Winter Garden. There's a lot of new construction there. There's a lot of development there, commercial as well as business. Some of those areas are zoned short-term rentals, so you do have to be aware of that when you're out there looking to purchase and confirm whether or not your community is zoned residential or short-term rental. It is very close to like Champions Gate or Reunion, kind of that whole little neck of the woods. But there's a lot of communities that are kind of out there. The builders are going out there. You know why the builders go and they develop these areas is because they know that the land is cheaper, right? It's a little bit, it could be potentially in the beginning. If you've got Winter Garden land or if you've got Haines City land, some people are going to want Winter Garden because it's right there at Disney's backyard. But some people may want Haines City. So as the growth continues to go, you do have some really nice communities excuse me, out there. You've got a community called Providence. You've got Solterra is out there. Champions Gate and Reunion both have some extensions happening back in that general area. Did I say Solterra? You got Solterra, and then you also have Windsor Island. That's another one. And then you have a new one, and I hope I pronounce it right. It's Aquarama. I don't know. I need a vocal lesson for that one. Aquarama. 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 But there are some communities out there, and the direction, and yeah, Pam, yeah, you can say it. The traffic in Davenport is horrendous. It is not great. But you know, it's the area, that whole area is growing. It is. And when the area grows, then the traffic engineers have to make some adjustments here and there. But yes, it can be a little bit crazy. It's kind of like in Lake Nona. People are like, I really want to be in Lake Nona. And then they realize what the traffic can be like. And then that may or may not change them. And by the way, we can say that about anywhere, right? Because Avalon Road there in Horizon West is getting a little bit busier now that the roads connect. But at least they're working on it. That has been a bit of a problem for a few years, but they've always been working on it. They've always known we need to widen Avalon before we connect these roads. Now they have connected Schofield, but they haven't connected Fleming's and New Independence. Not quite there yet, but getting there, right? So hopefully the traffic will get better. But those areas they're ripe for opportunity. You just have to determine, is this going to be a primary residence or is this going to be an investment property where you're going to rent it out or do an Airbnb? And does that community allow for that? Or is it going to be primarily residential? People live in Haines City and people live in Davenport full time as a primary residence, but some people don't. And so you just have to make sure that as you're searching that you have a good understanding of what that looks like. And if that's going to work for you. Okay, let me watching. Okay, so I never even knew this show existed. I don't know when it came on TV. I don't even know how old it is, but I've stumbled across it and I've been watching it a little bit. I've actually got 3 different shows going on right now. One of them I like, but there's too much sex in it and I don't like to I don't need to see all that stuff. So I kind of stopped watching it because I'm like, I don't know. This one, however, is just fun. It's lighthearted. It's got a great cast. It makes me laugh. It makes me smile. It's not inappropriate. It's just lighthearted and fun. And so I never watched it when it was on TV, but I'm watching it now. I don't know if it's on Netflix, maybe Netflix. I don't know. But anyway, it's fun. So if you have options for me to watch, please let me know. I am so frustrated with television and entertainment because it is literally the only thing that I do. Like literally, it's the only thing that I do as entertainment. I'm in my office. I'm working all day. During the day, my head is busy. My mind is occupied. I've got lots going on. And then at night, when it comes time for dinner and then time to go to bed, that is when everything hits me. Still grieving, guys. That is going to be a never ending thing. And I'm still adjusting as to how my life looks without Eric and how do those routines look by myself. And at night, that's my time where I'm like, okay, well, I gotta go to bed now, but I don't want to go to bed, but I have to go to bed, and I want to get comfy and snuggly because I want to be able to say I am allowed to be done with work for the day. Although I usually still have a few more text messages that come in, but easy enough. But then I try to find something on TV to watch, and I have a really, really hard time finding things that have multiple seasons that can keep me engaged. But I do think that is it Virgin River that has another season starting? Something else has a new season starting on the 22nd. But if you've got suggestions, you send them my way. Remember, I like a whole multitude of genres. I'm not solely interested in one. Don't really like horror that much, but anyway. So all right. So with that, my friends, let me see if I got anybody else. And by the way, you know what I've been forgetting to do? I've been forgetting to ask you if you have questions. So if you do have questions, write them up. Next week when we have coffee time, let me know. And as always, you know how much I love you. I am always here to help you. Give me a call or text me at Florida phone number 407-848-8042. That's Heart and Home Orlando. If you're needing me on the Virginia side, that phone number is 757-329-0055. And that, of course, is Heart and Home Richmond. So if you need me, just give me a call. Both phones, boom, 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 right here. Always, always got my two. That's the way it works. And with that, my friends, as always, I have so much fun with you on Sunday mornings. Please stay safe, stay well. Remember, I love you. I truly do. And I'm going to try to find something that I can do nice for you. I don't know what it is, but it's a goal of mine this year. So stay tuned. Let me see how I can do something nice for you. All right. Love you guys. Have a great week. Bye.